One of those electronic voting dealies.
One vote for McCain. One vote for McCain.
Who are the world's greatest prophets? Many might list the Mayans, Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, or even the French seer Michel de Nostredame. But what about Homer Simpson? The Simpsons is not only the longest-running sitcom and animated show on TV, it's arguably one of the best shows as well. Amazingly, The Simpsons has appeared to predict some major historical events that have actually happened in real life, such as Trump's presidency, the Disney-Fox merger, and even the Ebola outbreak. Yet it's essential to understand that many of these predictions can be chalked up to mere coincidence, humorous guesses, or broad satire of current events. The show's creators might not have mystical foresight, but they certainly possess a keen understanding of societal trends and human nature, allowing them to create scenarios that occasionally mirror real-life events. Here are the 15 moments that show predicted the future. Number 1. Trump presidency. The Simpsons has a long history of touching on political and cultural events, often in a satirical and humorous manner. One instance that stands out is a 2000 episode titled Bart to the Future, where the show eerily predicted the presidency of Donald Trump. In this future-set episode, Lisa Simpson becomes the President of the United States and inherits quite a budget crunch from her predecessor, President Trump. Though intended as a joke at the time, this mention of a Trump presidency became a widely discussed topic during the 2016 election when Trump was elected as the 45th President of the United States. The prediction seemed to capture the public's imagination, leading many to marvel at the show's uncanny ability to foresee future events. The creators of The Simpsons have downplayed the idea that they somehow predicted Trump's presidency, explaining that the episode was meant as a warning and a satirical commentary on the political climate of the time.
And I can tell you, some of the candidates they went in, they didn't know the air conditioner didn't work.
Trump was chosen for the storyline because he had already flirted with the idea of running for president, and his inclusion was seen as a symbol of a future gone awry. Whether it's considered a coincidence or a chilling prediction, the mention of a Trump presidency in The Simpsons remains a fascinating cultural footnote. It demonstrates the show's knack for blending humor with insightful commentary on contemporary events, and it adds to the mystique of The Simpsons as a show that occasionally seems to tap into the cultural zeitgeist in uncannily accurate ways. Number 2. Ebola's outbreak. In one of the episode fans point to is a brief mention of the Ebola virus in a 1997 episode. In the episode titled Lisa's Sacks, Marge is attempting to read a bedtime story to a sick Bart, and the book she picks up is titled Curious George and the Ebola Virus. The joke was likely a darkly humorous reference to the deadly virus, which had been discovered in 1976 and had caused sporadic outbreaks since then. Fast forward to 2014, and the Ebola virus was responsible for a major outbreak in West Africa, leading to widespread fear and concern. This caused some fans of The Simpsons to reflect on the show's earlier mention of Ebola and wonder if it had somehow predicted this tragic event. However, it's essential to recognize that the reference to Ebola in The Simpsons was more likely a timely joke rather than an eerie prediction. The writers were known for their clever and often edgy humor, and the mention of Ebola fit into the show's satirical style. The Ebola reference in The Simpsons is another example of how the show's writers have tapped into contemporary issues and cultural fears. While it's an intriguing coincidence, attributing it to a prediction of the 2014 to 2016 Ebola outbreak might be giving too much credit to a brief gag in an animated sitcom. Nevertheless, it highlights the show's ability to resonate with real-world events, even years after the fact. Number 3. FIFA is corrupt. Another uncanny knack for incorporating elements into its storyline that later seemed to resonate with real-world events. One such example occurred in a 2014 episode titled You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee, where the show delved into the world of soccer, touching on themes of corruption within FIFA. In the episode, Homer is selected as a World Cup referee, based on his incorruptible nature. He's soon approached with bribes to fix matches, but staunchly resists. Throughout the episode, the dark underbelly of soccer, filled with corruption and manipulation,
Wave a Brazilian flag so you stand out in the crowd.
Don't do it, Dad. Don't cheat.
is portrayed with the show's typical satirical flair. Just a year later, in 2015, the real-world FIFA was rocked by a massive corruption scandal. Several high-ranking officials were indicted on charges of corruption, including bribery, fraud, and money laundering. The parallels between the fictional portrayal in The Simpsons and the real-life events were stark. While it's unlikely that The Simpsons writers had any insider knowledge, the episode did tap into long-standing rumors and perceptions about corruption within international soccer. The fact that their humorous take on the subject was followed so closely by real-world events only adds to the show's reputation for eerily predicting the future. The FIFA corruption episode of The Simpsons serves as a testament to the show's sharp and insightful writing. By taking a humorous look at a serious issue, the writers were able to entertain while also offering a critique that later proved to be quite prescient. Whether by chance or by design, The Simpsons continues to demonstrate a cultural awareness that often seems ahead of its time. Number 4. Horsemeat Scandal. One such instance occurred in the 1994 episode titled Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass's Song, where lunch lady Doris, the school's cafeteria worker, is seen using a barrel labeled assorted horse parts to prepare lunch for the students. This grim joke became eerily reminiscent of a real-life scandal that unfolded in Europe in 2013. Several food products labeled as containing beef were found to contain horse meat, leading to widespread public concern and outrage. Major brands were affected, and the scandal led to extensive investigations and product recalls. The horse meat scandal revealed complex issues within the food supply chain, including mislabeling, fraud, and lack of transparency. It led to a loss of trust in food providers and spurred significant changes in food labeling and testing. While the mention of horse meat in The Simpsons was a darkly humorous gag, it inadvertently touched on concerns that became very real almost 2 decades later. The writer's ability to create a scenario that later mirrored a significant real-world scandal demonstrates the show's timeless relevance. The horsemeat episode in The Simpsons is an example of how the series uses humor to reflect societal issues. Whether or not it's seen as a prediction, this particular joke highlighted the disconnect between what consumers believe they are eating and what might actually be in their food, a concern that became all too real for many people in 2013. Number 5. FaceTime. Another incident that exposed the future of technology is the portrayal of video chat calls within the show. This idea appeared in multiple episodes, most notably in Lisa's Wedding, which aired in 1995. In this futuristic episode, set in the then-distant year of 2010, Lisa visits a fortune teller who shows her a vision of her future. Within this vision, viewers see characters engaging in video chat calls, a concept that seemed futuristic at the time, but is now an everyday part of life. The depiction of video chat calls in The Simpsons demonstrated the show's ability to anticipate technological advancements.
Okay, Lisa, I'll give it to you straight. You've got a 98% chance of going to college.
Although video conferencing technology was already in development in the mid-90s, it was far from being a household norm. The episode foresaw a time when video communication would be casual and ubiquitous. Today, platforms like Zoom, Skype, and FaceTime have made video chat calls an integral part of personal and professional communication, especially highlighted during the COVID-19 pandemic when remote communication became essential. While it might be a stretch to call this a prediction, the inclusion of video chat in The Simpsons does showcase the writer's understanding of emerging technologies and their potential impact on society. The show's vision of the future often blends humor with insightful commentary on technological trends, a mix that has helped The Simpsons remain relevant and engaging for decades. Number 6. Lady Gaga Super Bowl. This crazy similar event comes from a 2012 episode featuring Lady Gaga and a 2017 episode called The Town. In Lisa Goes Gaga, Lady Gaga performs a concert for the people of Springfield, making an extravagant entrance, suspended in the air, much like her actual Super Bowl LI halftime show in 2017. Similarly, in The Town, the episode opens with a shot of a football game that's a clear parody of a typical Super Bowl, complete with an over-the-top halftime show. The visual similarities between Lady Gaga's animated performance in The Simpsons and her real-life Super Bowl appearance were enough to ignite conversations and speculation online. Fans of both Lady Gaga and The Simpsons marveled at how the animated portrayal seemed to predict the elaborate staging of the real Super Bowl performance, from the suspension in the air to some of the costume elements. While these parallels are likely coincidental, they add to the legend of The Simpsons, seemingly predicting real-world events. It's worth noting that Lady Gaga's Super Bowl performance filled with spectacle and drama, is in line with her general approach to performance, which the Simpsons episode captured well. Number 7. Disney bought Fox. In a 1998 episode titled When You Dish Upon a Star, there's a scene where the 20th Century Fox logo is shown with a sign that reads, "A division of Walt Disney Company." At the time, this was a mere joke, reflecting the growing media empire of Disney and its potential to acquire other significant entertainment companies. Fast forward to December 2017, and the fictional scenario became reality when Disney announced it would acquire 21st Century Fox in a deal worth over $71 billion.
People watch television differently, not news or business.
The acquisition included a vast array of assets, including film and television studios and intellectual properties that had long been part of the Fox legacy. It demonstrated the show's clever and often biting commentary on media, corporate culture, and the entertainment industry. While the writers of The Simpsons could not have genuinely foreseen this specific business transaction, their insight into industry trends and the nature of media consolidation proved to be surprisingly accurate. It's yet another example of how the show's satirical take on contemporary culture has occasionally aligned with real-world events, adding to its reputation as a series that's both entertaining and prophetic. Number 8. Richard Branson. In Space, Season 27, Episode 17 featured Richard Branson himself in an episode. In The Burns Cage, Richard Branson appears as a guest star, and his entrepreneurial spirit and adventurous persona are highlighted. The show's engagement with space travel themes and its spotlight on visionary entrepreneurs like Branson reflect the zeitgeist of the time when private space travel was becoming a genuine possibility. This has led some fans to see connections between the show's portrayal of space exploration and the actual endeavors of people like Richard Branson. In July 2021, Branson made headlines by traveling to the edge of space aboard Virgin Galactic's VSS Unity. While this achievement may resonate with the show's exploration of space themes and its focus on influential business figures, attributing it to a specific prediction by The Simpsons may be a stretch. It's worth celebrating The Simpsons for its clever, satirical take on culture and technology, which often aligns with real-world developments.
Turn the next generation of dreamers into the astronauts of today and tomorrow.
Even if the connection to Branson's spaceflight isn't a direct prediction, it highlights the show's enduring relevance and its ability to tap into societal trends and future possibilities. Number 9. Smartwatch, Apple Watch. Another uncanny ability to portray futuristic ideas that eventually manifest in the real world. The concept of smartwatches is one such example. In the 1995 episode Lisa's Wedding, the show presents a vision of the future, set in the then-distant year of 2010. In one scene, a character is seen using a watch as a communication device, speaking into it much like a phone. While the depiction was quite exaggerated and whimsical at the time, it bears a striking resemblance to the functionality of modern smartwatches. Years later, technology companies indeed developed smartwatches that allow users to take calls, send messages, track fitness, and perform various other functions right from their wrists. Major tech brands, including Apple, Samsung, and others, have brought smartwatches into the mainstream market, making them a common accessory. Number 10. NSA spying. The prediction appeared not only in the series but also in the Simpson movie The Simpsons Movie, released in 2007, contained a satirical scene that would later prove to be eerily prescient. In the film, the Simpson family is on the run, and during a conversation in their car, Lisa warns that someone might be listening to them. Marge dismisses the idea as ridiculous, only for the scene to cut to a national security agency, NSA, listening post where agents are monitoring private conversations. This portrayal of widespread government surveillance became particularly relevant in 2013 when Edward Snowden, a former NSA contractor, leaked classified information. The documents revealed extensive global surveillance programs run by the NSA and other intelligence agencies. These revelations confirmed the existence of massive data collection efforts, including the monitoring of phone calls, emails, and internet activities of ordinary citizens. While The Simpsons' portrayal was meant as a humorous exaggeration, it touched on very real concerns about privacy and government intrusion that came to the forefront with the Snowden leaks. The coincidence between the fictional depiction and the real-life scandal added to the show's mystique for seemingly predicting future events. Number 11. voting machine. In a 2008 episode titled Treehouse of Horror Then Nime,
Why do we have to choose our leaders?
Homer attempts to vote for Barack Obama in the U.S. presidential election. However, the electronic voting machine he uses is rigged, continuously changing his vote to John McCain. The scene is played for laughs, but conveys a pointed message about the potential vulnerabilities of electronic voting systems. 4 years later, during the 2012 presidential election, a video surfaced online showing a real-life electronic voting machine malfunctioning in a similar way. A voter attempted to select Barack Obama, but the machine registered a vote for Mitt Romney. The incident led to concerns and discussions about the integrity and reliability of electronic voting systems. While The Simpsons was undoubtedly exaggerating for comedic effect, the episode highlighted genuine worries about the security of electronic voting that became part of the public discourse. The parallels between the fictional portrayal and the real-world event contribute to the show's reputation for making uncanny predictions. Number 12. Nobel Prize. In the 2010 episode titled Elementary School Musical, Lisa, Milhouse, Martin, and Database create a betting pool for the Nobel Prize winners. Milhouse bets on Bengt R. Holmstrom for the Economics Prize. Remarkably, in 2016, Bengt R. Holmstrom, a Finnish economist, did indeed win the Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel, commonly referred to as the Nobel Prize in Economics. He shared the prize with Oliver Hart for their contributions to contract theory. Though it's likely this prediction was more of a coincidence than any prescient insight, it adds to the legend of The Simpsons seemingly foreseeing future events. The show's writers often draw from real-world information and trends, and it's possible that Holmstrom was already recognized as a significant figure in the field of economics at the time the episode was made. Number 13. Autocorrect. Another insane accurate prediction about autocorrect even years before they came into existence. One such uncanny prediction involves the concept of autocorrect, a technology prevalent in modern-day communication. In an episode titled Lisa on Ice, aired in 1994, an Apple Newton device was featured with a handwriting recognition feature that humorously mistranslated a simple reminder to beat up Martin as eat up Martha. This was a satirical nod to the imperfect handwriting recognition technology of the time, but it was also a strangely accurate foreshadowing of the autocorrect technology that became common in smartphones and other devices. Though intended as a joke, this moment in The Simpsons remarkably paralleled the frustrations and unexpected outcomes that many people experience with autocorrect on modern devices. The prediction appears almost prophetic in its realization of how a seemingly helpful technology could lead to humorous or even frustrating miscommunications. Number 14. New York 911 attacked. One of the most controversial and widely discussed instances involves an image that some have associated with the tragic 9/11 terrorist attacks on New York City. In an episode titled The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson, which aired in 1997, the Simpson family visits New York City. In one scene, Lisa holds up a magazine featuring an advertisement for a $9 bus trip to New York, with the Twin Towers in the background, forming a silhouette that can be read as 9/11. Though this image has stirred much discussion and speculation, many believe the connection to the 9/11 attacks is purely coincidental. The creators of the show have never claimed that the image was intended to predict or symbolize anything related to the tragic events that would unfold 4 years later.
I don't want to go to New York City.
Why not?
New York is a hellhole.
In this case, it seems that the connection between the visual in The Simpsons and the 9/11 tragedy may be more a matter of interpretation and coincidence than a clear prediction. While the show has exhibited uncanny foresight in some instances, attributing the New York episode to a deliberate foretelling of the 9/11 attacks might be an overreach. Nonetheless, this association continues to fuel discussions about the ways in which popular culture inadvertently mirrors or anticipates real-world events. Number 15. Ocean Gate Submarine. Most recent incident that happened that's somewhat related to one of episode where the Titanic exploration is referenced is Simpson Tide, Season 9, Episode 19. In this episode, Homer joins the Naval Reserve, and the submarine he's assigned to ends up sinking a fleet of ships, including a luxury liner that closely resembles the submarine. While Homer was driving the submarine, chasing a bright green fish at the bottom of the ocean, he ended up driving the submarine into a giant stone hole. While trying to get the submarine out, an alert popped up saying the submarine was about to run out of oxygen. Even though this episode wasn't completely 100% accurate, I have to say this one is pretty freaky. Which prediction shocks you the most?